20, and we're going to call the regular meeting to order for the Ottawa City Commission. Mayor Wygant is absent today, so again, you get a poor rendition of Mayor Wygant, but I'll do my best. So we will start our meeting with a paragraph that we have been reading in the last couple months. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we are restricted to the number of individuals who can actually participate in person. And as you all see, none of us are in person. So I believe that Misty Kims will be reading a paragraph to begin our meeting. So Misty?
This is Misty Kims, Assistant City Clerk speaking, and I will be providing information for remote access to tonight's meeting, as well as procedural guidelines that will be followed for this meeting. Due to efforts to mitigate the spread of COVID-19, physical access to the City Commission meeting will be restricted. In accordance with the Kansas Open Meeting Act, the meeting can be viewed live on Channel 23 and via Facebook Live, or listened to by dialing 1-312-626-6799 and entering meeting ID 919-214-9005 #. Please note, participants who generate unwanted or distracting noises may be muted by the meeting host. If this happens, please unmute yourself when you wish to speak. That information can be found at the top of today's agenda. Guidelines for this meeting are as follows. Each member of the public, staff, or presenter is required to state the individual's name and title, if any, each time the individual begins speaking or voting, so that the individual can be identified by remote listeners or observers. Citizens that submitted comments by 8:00 a.m. today to publiccomments@ottawaks.gov were given to the City Commission to be read during public comment or during discussion on an agenda item. The Commission must describe at the beginning of the meeting the process that will be used for a closed or executive meeting pursuant to KSA 75-4319 and amendments thereto.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Misty. I appreciate you reading that and letting the public know how they can participate, because we certainly still want you to be a part of the running of your city. We will begin our meeting with a roll call, and I believe that Misty will be running the roll call too.
Yes, this is Misty Kims, Assistant City Clerk. Mayor Wygant, Mayor Pro Tem Kaler.
Present.
Commissioner Crowley.
Present.
Commissioner Skidmore.
Present.
Commissioner Jorgensen.
I'm almost sure he's here. I see him. Wave for us, Commissioner Jorgensen. He's here. Oh, good. He's here. Excellent. Okay. We, again, welcome you all for being a part of this meeting. And if you watch this meeting afterwards and you have questions, again, like I had said earlier, this is your city. You should ask us questions because we're responsible to you. So if you're watching this now or later, please let us know how we can make the city of Ottawa the best we can. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I am going to put myself on mute because if you've watched a Pledge of Allegiance with everybody on Zoom, it's kind of a mess. But I would invite everybody to please stand up, put their hand over their heart, and cite the Pledge of Allegiance with me. Here we go. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now I believe that the invocation will be led by Commissioner Skidmore. Commissioner Skidmore?
Right. Let's pray. Father in heaven, I give you thanks again that we can meet. It may not be the ideal conditions, but Lord, you provided the technology that we can meet again like we are today. We'll give you thanks for that. And Lord, we give you thanks for the leadership in this community. We're mindful of our county commissioners, our school board, our administrators, our school teachers. Just God, give them direction, guidance as we all have to navigate these difficult times and difficult decisions to be made. We just ask for your perfect protection and guidance. And Lord, we're also mindful of a recent death due to COVID in our community again. And it's just sad to hear, but we just ask for you to provide strength and guidance in the family that's missing this family member, and for the difficult days ahead for them. And Lord, as we look at this agenda and the things that are on there, my prayers are that all our thoughts, our words, our actions would be honoring to you as we go look over these items and make these decisions today. We commit this time to you in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Skidmore. I always appreciate your words.
Sure.
They always remind us of exactly where we should be. So next, that brings us on to the regular agenda. And at the beginning of every agenda, we offer a public comment to individuals who may want to talk to the City Commission as a whole. Have we had anybody who has registered for public comment today, Misty?
I have received none.
Okay. And this is Commissioner Kaler speaking. Sorry, and I've been the one not doing that. Next, we will be, I am going to ask for the commission that if they have a chance that right now, they have a chance to declare any conflict or communication that they may have that would influence their ability to consider today's issues impartially. Commissioners, do you have anything that you'd like to declare today?
Mayor Pro Tem Kaler, Commissioner Crowley here. I just want to declare there's a professional conflict with the neighborhood revitalization due to the fact that I am the electrician on 3 of those projects. So just to be safe, I will abstain from any vote on those.
We appreciate you making that declaration. I might also want to point out that I think somebody left the water on up above your head, if you haven't seen.
That was probably 70 years ago too. Okay. So
somebody left the water on. I bet it was a teenager, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
This is Commissioner Jorgensen. I do have a professional relationship on a few of these properties as well. My compensation is not based on whether or not it's approved through the Neighborhood Revitalization Program. And under the letter of the law, that is not a conflict. So I will be participating.
Okay. Thank you so much for letting us know. And your background is much prettier than Commissioner Crowley's background. So thank you, Commissioner Jorgensen. But I appreciate that declaration. Anybody else like to make a declaration? Okay. All right. So that moves us on to new business. And that's item 10 on the agenda.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
This is Amy Prince, City Clerk speaking. We did have, I believe, some items under the consent agenda.
Oh, yes. Pardon me. Yes, I'm sorry. So you know what? Until we start moving through the agenda, we might want to actually approve the agenda. So that's my fault. I'll own that. So we do have an appointment of Andrew Hum to the Airport Advisory Board again, and the agenda is included on that. That we're going to go through today. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner Skidmore, I make the motion we approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Crowley will second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. So, and thank you for reminding me of that. That moves us on to item 10. I believe that Misty Kems will be reporting on that one.
This is Misty Kems, Assistant City Clerk speaking. Request for approval of ordinance authorizing the issuance and delivery of $1,617,000 principal amount of general obligation bonds, Series 2020A.
Great. This ordinance provides for the levy and collection of an annual tax for the purpose of paying the principal and interest on the bonds as they become due. I believe we have Tyler Ellsworth and Adrian Serene with us today, and I wasn't sure. We may have somebody else join us later. We'll just see. Wasn't sure if David was joining us or not, but Tyler and Adrian, would you like to address this matter?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, and good morning, Commissioners. This is Tyler Ellsworth with Kutak Rock. My colleague Adrian Serene has also joined us this morning, and I believe Dave Arterberry with the city's financial advisor, Stiefel Nicholas, is also in attendance. What I would like to do this morning, item number 10 on the agenda is consideration and approval of a bond ordinance. Item 11 on the agenda is consideration of a bond resolution. What I'd like to do is offer David an opportunity to sort of overview the financing here, much as he did Monday afternoon at the study session, just for the benefit of individuals who weren't able to attend or view the study session. After Dave walks us through the financing here, then I can talk about the proceedings that the commission is being asked to consider, and also speak just briefly on the opportunity to decrease the interest rate, which opportunity may present itself in the next couple of weeks. So with that, I'll offer Dave an opportunity to update everyone.
Thanks, Tyler, and good morning, everybody. As Tyler was mentioning, we did talk a little bit about this at the work session on Monday. Basically, the city has an outstanding temporary note of $2,015,000 that was issued to fund sanitary sewer improvements out at Proximity Park. That temporary note provided construction period funding. The permanent funding for that project is being provided by USDA in the form of a loan. And it's actually not a loan with USDA. What you'd be doing is you'd be selling a bond issue to USDA. So today, what you have in front of you is a resolution and ordinance that authorize the issuance of those bonds with USDA. Now, the principal amount of the bond issue is $1,617,000, which is less than the amount of the outstanding temporary notes. The difference there between those two amounts is going to be provided by the city from either remaining temporary note proceeds or from accumulated Proximity Park sales tax dollars. So this is basically the permanent financing for those sanitary sewer improvements out at the park. So with that, I welcome any questions or turn it over to Tyler.
Are there any questions for Dave Arterberry, commissioners?
Commissioner Skidmore, just a question on that interest rate. We're thinking it may be lower. Is there any projection at this point what that could be with the USDA?
This is Tyler Ellsworth. I don't have a projection on that yet. And I hesitate to speculate on what that might be. The interest rate that USDA has quoted the city, if we closed a bond issue on September 28th as scheduled, is 2.25%. I think that probably the reduction that's possible may wind up with a rate that's somewhere between 2% and 2.25%, but I'm not sure where exactly that will end up.
Okay, then one other question too. How long a term is that bond?
This is a 30-year amortization, which is one of the benefits of going with USDA financing. They typically amortize the financing over a longer term than you would with a private purchaser or an investment bank.
Okay, so Eric will be around to see that paid off, right? That's all I have.
Commissioner Skidmore, now watch it. Are there other questions for David Arterberry or really anybody regarding this?
I do have Mayor Pro Tem. This is Commissioner Jorgensen.
Yes.
I do have a question with USDA. Is there a penalty for early payment if we should become flush with cash?
Commissioner, this is Tyler Ellsworth again. There is no penalty for prepayment. You can prepay these bonds at any time.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And just to add, that is actually another benefit of the USDA bond issues, is that usually when you do a normal bond issue, there's an optional prepayment period that doesn't start until 7 to 10 years after the bonds are issued. With USDA, you could immediately refinance if you had the money.
Great, thank you for that information. Commissioner Kaler speaking. Does anybody else have questions regarding this item? Tyler Ellsworth and Adrian Serene, do you have anything particular, or do you have a presentation on this item?
This is Tyler again. I do have a couple additional remarks. So as I mentioned, there are two separate agenda items, which will each require separate consideration and separate vote by the commission this morning. The first is the bond ordinance, which authorizes the issuance of the bonds. The second separate item is the bond resolution, which prescribes the form and details of the bonds. And as I alluded to, we are requesting commission's approval of both of these documents this morning. In early September, we should know from USDA whether the interest rates will be reset to a lower amount after October 1st. So right now, these documents and the other bond documents that we've prepared contemplate closing on September 28th. If in the next couple of weeks, it turns out that the interest rate would be lower, if we bump closing into October, then we will return to you likely at your first meeting in September for amendments to these documents to reflect the October closing and the slightly lower interest rate. So happy to answer any additional questions, but those are the proceedings this morning.
Commissioner Kaler speaking. It's always nice to know that we may have the opportunity to save, even if it's just a little bit of money. We're saving money for all the citizens of Ottawa. So it's always good that you're looking out for us. Thank you so much to everybody on that team for doing that.
Absolutely.
Commissioners, do you have any additional questions? If not,
Mayor Pro Tem.
yes.
I move that we approve the resolution as described in item 11 of the agenda.
Commissioner Crowley will second that, and to Commissioner Skidmore's comment, I'll make sure it does get paid in full.
I think that's fair. Is that part of the,
Yeah.
Did you want to amend that motion or no? I'm just joking. No, in all seriousness, we take this stuff very seriously at the city. This is a huge amount of money, and it is a huge obligation that we put on our community, but we also know that there will be benefits by having it. So there's been a motion and a second.
I think it's item number 10 on our agenda. Did I hear 11?
Yes. Yes, this is Tyler again. Just as a procedural matter, the ordinance will want to be considered and approved first, and the motion was for the resolution rather than.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I amend my motion to item 10 versus item 11.
And Commissioner, this is Commissioner Kaler speaking. Commissioner Crowley, are you okay with that amendment?
I will amend it too also.
Okay. So there's been a motion and a second to approve the ordinance authorizing issuance and delivery of the GO bonds as listed in item 10 on our agenda. Is there any additional discussion, commissioners, that you would like to have on this motion prior to voting? Seeing none, I would ask for a roll call vote, please.
How do you vote, Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
How do you vote, Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
I vote yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Kaler?
And I vote yes, motion carries. That moves us on to item 11 on the agenda.
Request for approval to add 16 residential properties to the Neighborhood Revitalization Program. And this is Assistant City Clerk Misty Combs. I forgot that.
And you know what, Misty, I think we're going to go ahead and do 11 first, and then we'll go to 12 after that. Because
I'm sorry, I read the wrong one. So number 11, request for approval of resolution prescribing the form and details of and authorizing the delivery of $1,617,000 principal amount of general obligation bonds, Series 2020A.
great. So this item 11 is directly related to item 10 that we had just discussed. It's an ordinance that we just approved in item 10 of this agenda and authorizes the issuance of bonds. Tyler Ellsworth and Adrian Serene, do you want to address this matter? Or David Arterbeck?
Thank you. Nothing further. This is Tyler. Nothing further to add on consideration of this resolution.
Great. Commissioners, do you have questions of these gentlemen that are on the call regarding the resolution on the agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion if there is one.
Madam Pro Tem, Commissioner Skidmore, I make the motion we approve item number 11 on our agenda.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Crowley will second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution prescribing the form and details authorizing the delivery of GO bonds listed in item 11 in our agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
And Mayor Pro Tem Kaler?
I vote yes, motion carries. That moves us on to item 12 on the agenda.
This is Assistant City Clerk Misty Combs speaking. Request for approval to add 16 residential properties to the Neighborhood Revitalization Program.
The Neighborhood Revitalization Program Review Committee has reviewed and recommends these properties to be added to this program. And the addresses are as follows. Residential new addresses, which means that they will be selling, not to the public. 839 South Cypress, 839 South Cypress, 421 South Mulberry, 727 South Mulberry, 1103 North Poplar, 1109 North Poplar, 1113 North Poplar, and 822 Tremont Avenue. The residential new addresses, which will be rentals, at 206 South Cedar, which is a fourplex, 702 North Cedar, 710 North Cedar, 718 North Cedar, and 907 North Walnut. And then residential remodel, which the individuals will be selling this property, which is 1324 South Maple, and a residential remodel, which will be rental, is 1011 North Cedar, 710 East Logan, and 329 South Sycamore. I believe that Mrs. Lee will be discussing this matter with us today.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Wendy Lee, Director of Community Development. By reading all of the addresses, I think actually Mayor Pro Tem has probably done most of the job right there. As you know, the City Commission, along with our partners, revised our neighborhood revitalization to give these property owners a 95% rebate for 10 years. I've heard from several of those builders now that the community members, that buyers are more aware of this now, and it is truly become a real incentive for them to consider building or buying. And certainly if you're a landlord, then obviously those rental properties, it's an incentive as well to encourage them to renovate, remodel, and build new construction. So there's quite a few of them today. We've had kind of busy agendas lately, so they've been stacking up. But as you know, once they make the application, as long as they're approved, it's all fine. They actually don't receive any kind of rebate until after their construction is completed, and then the appraiser has evaluated them again to be sure that they actually do qualify. But we submit all of these for approval.
Commissioner Kaler speaking. Commissioners, I might open it up to you if you have any questions.
Commissioner Skidmore, I really don't have a question, but I just want to appreciate the school district and the county working with us on this. I know we're giving up a little bit of tax dollars early, but the benefit of this program is so great to get nicer homes, looking homes, and eventually those will come on the tax rolls. And so I just want to appreciate the cooperation we've had with the school district and county through all the years we've been doing this.
Absolutely. Commissioner Kaler speaking. I agree with you, Commissioner Skidmore. Other commissioners?
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioner Jorgensen.
Yes, Commissioner.
I'd like to just piggyback on there. This program's been around since before I first was elected onto the City Commission. And this is the most use that I've seen. I think we had earlier this year or late last year, we had several additional properties that were approved for the neighborhood revitalization. And it's really heartening to see that happen, because primarily these properties are all infill properties, and we're seeing some development in existing neighborhoods, and that's exactly what we wanted to happen with the program for the last, well, for the 15 years that I've been on the City Commission. So I think it's working great, and I hope we see this happen more often, and to the point that maybe we don't need to have the program for infill in the future. So, but at this time, it is a vital part of infill development.
Great comments. Commissioner Crowley, this is Commissioner Kaler speaking. Commissioner Crowley, do you have any comments?
I have no comments.
Okay.
I think, I agree with all of them. I echo it, so.
Well, I do think, Commissioner Kaler speaking, I do think it is exciting that we have 16 new properties. That's a tremendous amount of new properties. And the thing is that that's rooftops that are either being constructed or remodeled so that families can live here in our community, and how exciting. So I will entertain a motion if there is one.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, this is Commissioner Skidmore. I'll make the motion. We approve item 12 on our agenda.
Commissioner
Madam Mayor
Skidmore?
Pro Tem,
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen, I second the motion.
Great. So it's Commissioner Kaler speaking. There's been a motion and a second to approve the 16 residential properties as listed in our agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will proceed to vote.
This is Assistant City Clerk Misty Combs speaking. How do you vote, Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
I vote yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
I will abstain.
Mayor Pro Tem Kaler?
And I vote yes, motion carries. Great work. Next, that moves us on to item 13 on the agenda.
Request for approval to decommission Stag steam turbine and gas unit from service.
The staff recommends removing this unit from service due to age and cost to upgrade and maintain. And I believe our Director of Utilities, Dennis Tharp, will be addressing this matter on our agenda today. Mr. Tharp?
This is Dennis Tharp, Director of Utilities. Good morning, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. I am going to attempt here again to share my screen and pull up a PowerPoint that we looked at on Monday. And we will I assume everybody is seeing that at this point.
I think we are.
I will walk through this, commissioners, and don't hesitate to stop at any time if you have a question, or we can go through this and we can get questions at the end. What we're talking about here is a unit that has been in service since 1967. We've been talking about the fate of this unit for several years, actually. As markets have evolved and things have changed, the viability of this unit, quite honestly, has gone away. And so I'm going to outline some of the reasons that we believe the Stag should be decommissioned at this point in time. As I said, put in use in 1967, and really it has served the community well. As a baseload unit back in those times, it was the way to go for this community. It was a great decision that was made to bring the Stag online, and it has served this community well. I quite honestly believe we've got our money's worth out of this unit. What we have here is what we looked at, and I'm not going to walk through each one of these, but what this shows is that there's a lot of money to be spent in order to make this unit somewhat viable. But at the end of the day, we've still got an old unit from 1967 that even after we fixed all of this $1.550 million worth of problems, we could still have more. That does not solve all of the issues that might happen with this unit. Again, there are a fairly large number in the ongoing costs, just in insurance, chemicals, the labor that we put into this unit. And I say again, our recommendation is that while this unit has served this community well, it is time to move down the road and look at the other available options. I want everyone to understand that by putting this unit out of service, you know, I'm going to talk about here in a minute that yes, we do have the capacity to do this, and you know, through some great things that this community has done over a period of years, we're in a great position to take this unit out of service. That does not negate the fact that down the road we will need other generation to support this community. And it is something we will continue to look at and continue to bring to the commission as we see those things that likely make sense for our community. We've been working at this for a while, and we have extensively looked at our portfolio to make sure that we meet all of the federal regulations. When we take this unit out of service, we have capacity requirements from the federal government. We have worked with KMEA staff, and the work that we have done internally says that, you know, quite honestly, this is probably as good a time as we will ever experience to decommission this unit and be able to move forward. It's kind of what I have for the presentation, and I will stand for questions if there would be any.
Commissioner Kaler speaking. Commissioners, do you have questions of our Director of Utilities, Mr. Tharp?
Commissioner Crowley here. I do have a couple questions, Dennis. One, you were going over some numbers the other day about the typical usage the city of Ottawa has, and I believe it was in the 20 megawatt range. And you were saying that we, at this point, make 16. So we're short roughly 4 megawatts. Is that what we will be purchasing from other entities in order to suffice the electrical needs?
Right now, we do not need to purchase anything. What we have in our portfolio covers all of our needs. So there is not going to be any money or dollars spent procuring other forms of energy to come into the community. That was one of the things where we wanted to try to place ourselves so that when we put this unit out of service, there would not be any kind of expense to that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I've had a couple folks ask me since Monday. Their concerns were if we decommission this unit and then we have to purchase from other entities, would that affect their rates in any sense? And I think you explained it just now better than I did. So that's really the only question I had. Thank you.
Yeah, there will be absolutely no change to rates because of this move.
Dennis, this is Commissioner Jorgensen. When we talk about needing to replace that generation in the future, just as a wild guess or an educated guess, what would a new unit cost for generation?
A reciprocating unit, as it stands today, is right around $1.2 million per megawatt.
Okay.
There again, that's kind of a blush. It can run on either side of that.
Okay.
And I think as all of the commissioners are aware and things that we have talked about over a period of time here, renewables are becoming more and more important. And I actually am going to bring forward to you in the next couple of weeks another renewable possibility for our community. And those kinds of things may replace some of the generation that we're talking about too.
Okay.
There again, all of that still runs in the same realm, but there's some opportunities out there that as you will see in, like say, in a couple of weeks, that kind of simplify the process, I guess is the way I'll put it for right now.
Okay. And the information that you showed us earlier indicated that to get this machine, this 50-year-old machine into I guess fighting condition would cost about $1.55 million. And it seems like that's quite a ways towards going towards a down payment on a newer machine, or towards getting some of those renewables sources of energy. That's all I
yes,
had.
Commissioner. Yeah, you're very right, and that is one of the things that we have looked at in this process.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Skidmore, I've got a question, Dennis. The last time you ran the Stag, I'm not sure when that was, but do you have an estimate on what the cost per kilowatt hour was to produce it from that versus going out on the market and buying a kilowatt hour?
The cost per kilowatt hour to run the Stag runs in the 50 the 5 cent range, which is $50 per megawatt. The market right now on an average day, our purchases run in the $20 range. So our market purchases are well below what it costs to run the Stag.
That was my point. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Kaler speaking. Mr. Tharp, I wonder if, and I asked you this in a roundabout way on Monday, but I'm wondering if you can dig a little bit deeper. What would an estimated cost be to actually decommission the Stag? It can't just magically go away. If anybody's ever seen it, it's a rather large unit, and it is going to take some work to make that happen. So any idea about an estimated cost to actually decommission it and take it apart?
Well, I'm not very good at this. Is Dennis Tharp, Director of Utilities, but actually it does kind of magically go away because really there will be interest, whether that be for salvage or for parts or whatever that may be as we move forward. But our goal, and I believe a very achievable goal, is to at least be $0 for us, for that to go away. And I believe there could be some reimbursement, with some of these companies. Now, there's no windfall here. Don't get me wrong. I think we might be talking, $25,000, $30,000 that we might see back on some of this. But as far as a cost, I really believe that we will see a $0.
Good, thank you, Mr. Tharp. I appreciate you letting individuals know about that. The Stag is certainly something that I hold pretty dear to me. My grandfather helped put that in, so I'm excited about having this conversation. But yes, so thank you.
You're very welcome. It's always a tough choice, when you've got megawatts like that to serve the community. But we've also got to look at the choices of the needs of the community moving forward. And I believe and we as a group believe that this is the time for this to happen.
Commissioners, this is Commissioner Kaler speaking. Do you have additional questions for Mr. Tharp regarding his request to decommission the Stag? If there is no other questions, I would entertain a motion if there is one.
Commissioner Crowley here. I'll make the motion to approve this item on our agenda.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Skidmore will second that.
There's been a motion and a second to decommission the Stag, which is our steam turbine and gas unit from utilities. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, we will proceed to vote.
This is Assistant City Clerk Misty Combs speaking. How do you vote, Commissioner Jorgensen?
I vote yes.
Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Kaler?
And for my grandfather, yes. I think that moves us on to the report by our city manager, who has an awesome picture that he is showing us his background today.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Kaler. This is Richard Ninestead, City Manager, and I have three things for you. The first thing is to talk about the background, and this is on the steps of the Franklin County Courthouse. And what you see here are, some of you may be related to some of these ladies on the courthouse steps during the suffrage movement. And last night, the Old Depot Museum had a program on the suffrage movement, which was very informative. And suffrage really means the right to vote. And 100 years ago, the 19th Amendment of the United States Constitution was ratified. And on this day, women woke up and universally in the United States were able to vote. Sad thing about that is there was still a long road, but just think. And I might add this, that Kansas was ahead of national suffrage. It gave women the right to vote in school board elections. So, okay. But I want all the women all the females who are listening to us, all the mothers, all the daughters, all the grandmothers, all the granddaughters, to think about what it would have been like today if the 19th Amendment had not been passed. All right. So a little bit of our history. We need to celebrate a lot. And if you go on the Franklin County Courthouse lawn, I think from now through August 21st, you will see a display there about women's suffrage. So thank you for allowing me the time to talk about that. Second item I want to talk about are masks. The city has free masks for our citizens. If you come into our lobby, there's a couple of stations there. You can self-serve yourself. If you somehow need assistance in getting those masks, you can call us and we'll get those to you. But we want people to be masked during this COVID event because it is a proven way to mitigate the transmission. So we will hand out free masks to families and to residents that need them. And Laura's been keeping track of that. And we have a lot of people that are down in the lobby and they do pick up those masks. So the third thing is I want to take a few minutes for Wendy and I to talk about the census again. And we have a different presentation from a different point of view for you. And I'll throw that up on the screen. And can everybody see that?
Not quite yet.
Not quite yet. Okay. So, all right. I'm going back to the drawing board. And I can do this. Don't get worried. Right here. Can you see that? No.
Oh, and he tested this before the meeting. We actually could see it.
All right, watch out. I forgot a very important step in here.
Turn on the computer.
Well, there. How about that?
Now we can.
Can see it now.
All right, Wendy, I will be, if you want to start talking about this, I'll scroll through this.
Okay. As you all know, we've been working on encouraging folks to complete their census since the first of the year. We are down to, as the slide says, the last 46 days. I think it's actually a few short of that now. Trying to be sure that we get our citizens, both in Ottawa and Franklin County, to complete their census. As you can see on this slide, Kansas is at 67.4. I've forgotten, Richard, we were a bit above Kansas there. He's going to click on that, see if that'll work.
We were. Is this Franklin County?
Now that one's showing you Allen.
Well,
had,
okay.
as we showed you on Monday, with the exception of one section, we were actually pretty close to 70%. But we have one section here in town that is lower than that. And there are a couple areas in the northern part of the county that are also lower than the 70%. But we'll say that we are averaging between 68, 69%. That's still, you know, a third of our community that haven't completed their census. So we have been working on this for a while. And as I know, former Mayor Jorgensen, when he started, would report what the impact is to us when you undercount to both education funding, higher education funding, social service programs, including Meals on Wheels, Area Agency on Aging, ECAN, even the library. There are a number of partners with us that have been promoting completing your census. And even the library in Neosho County has offered to help people if they want to come into their computer labs and complete it online. Here in this slide, you can see that when Richard first saw this, our participation rate was just below 69%, leaving 3856 individuals that currently weren't counted. Now, Richard and I speculated yesterday, based on our 2.4 people per household or whatever, we're somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,200 homes represented by that. The missed funding, as you can see, if you scroll down to the bottom, we would miss $80 million plus. It's not the lowest of some of the cities and it's not the highest, but it is significant dollars if we were to lose that federal funding to our region, our county. And it would go somewhere else. So we're anxious to encourage our citizens to go online and fill out their census. We're at the point now where the census takers will start arriving at homes to knock on the door. One of the recent slogans is "Stop the Knock," which means if you don't want somebody to knock on your door, you can go to the website or make a phone call and they'll do it over the phone. The site is 2020census.gov. It takes, as the Mayor Pro Tem mentioned on Monday, it takes 7-8 minutes to complete that. And there's not income questions. This is really just about our census that comes every 10 years and is called out for in our Constitution. So here's some more places that Richard's showing on the slides that of things that are affected. I mentioned some of that. Our community development block grants, which recently have been what we've used for economic development, are greatly affected by that. But all of the rest of this, housing, health clinics, job training, some of the programs that we can qualify for are dependent on this information. And we have just missed the qualification for the last 10 years. And if that was based on inaccurate information, that's too bad because we will have missed a number of federal dollars. Excuse me just a second. So we are anxious to encourage the community to do this. And I'd even invite, if you have some ideas about whether you think we ought to put up more of the signs that we've just put up. Oh, well, before I get to that, here is the phone number, 844-330-2020. So if somebody is listening to us today and they want to call to complete their census, that is one of the methods that they can do that if they prefer that over someone at their door or someone or doing it online. If they still have their census paperwork, it's still fine to submit by mail, but preferably at this point is online because we only have 45 days or so to complete it. So I know Richard's got some more slides here. Oh, and then this is the person that's been helping us. We did receive a $2,500 grant from the League of Kansas Municipalities, which is how we've been paying for the promotional materials that we've been using. We initially were going to do an awful lot of online ads, but that didn't work out. So we, as you probably have seen at the schools and at the parks and around the community, purchased signs and just put those up in the last week. We're going to do some stuffers at some area businesses. We've had posters up since early in the year. But if you have an idea about some way that we can ensure that the folks that in our community that maybe aren't counted get the message, we're happy to explore anything to try and get that word out.
All right, commissioners, any questions of Wendy or myself on the census?
Commissioner Skidmore, I've got a question. Do we know what the percent participation was at the last census?
I don't know the answer to that.
But we will find out, Commissioner Skidmore.
I actually am hoping to reach out to our contact with the census themselves to also find out if he knows when they're going to start counting here in Ottawa and Franklin County as far as going door to door. But people should be prepared that they are doing it because we know they have been. And the way his last message to us what sounded as if they were already doing that, and they may be. We're not aware of it, but that doesn't mean that they aren't out there already knocking on the door.
So please tell your friends, your neighbors, your family, especially if they live in Ottawa and Franklin County, to complete the census. And that is all.
I do have an additional question. Do you have a figure on what percentage the collection of data has been nationally?
Yes. Oh, I can, hold on just a second. We are 14th in the nation, and the nationwide percentage is 63.9. So we are above that. We want to be sure that we get the right counts.
I know if any of you have ever done any genealogy studies in the past, censuses included the names and ages of the people that live in the household, and that has been a useful tool to look at it. So, I mean, your ancestors have filled out the census. It's part of the Constitution that there is a census every 10 years. And if you support the freedoms that the Constitution allows you should also support the census that the Constitution has codified within it. So, but that's all I have to say on it.
That's all I have, Commission.
Thank you, City Manager Neinstedt, and thank you, Mrs. Lee. I may want to add on to the Commission the census information. I know that they have been walking doors, and they have been walking and leaving notices, and that's how I actually had received notice that my dad had not filled out his census. And so we got a little note, and it had a little code at the bottom, and it, like I said on Monday's meeting, it was super simple. Literally took me less than 5 minutes to help him through that. So please, I would encourage you to do that if you can. That brings us to the portion in the agenda that we asked for reports by our city commissioners. We'll begin with the top of the alphabet, and we'll begin with Commissioner Crowley.
I have no report.
Okay. Commissioner Jorgensen.
I have nothing further to add today.
Okay. And Commissioner Skidmore.
Well, I'll just add about the masks and how important they are. And my thinking on that is, if I didn't wear a mask, I didn't social distance, and I got the disease or the virus, okay. But if I did everything I possibly can, social distance, wear my mask when I'm out in public, and I get it, at least I'll know I did everything I possibly could to avoid getting it. And I don't think I'd have any regrets at that point. So I'd encourage everybody to use that same philosophy. You any kind of incentive, that try that, and let's get through this thing. Thank you.
Mike, that's a good looking mask for a banker.
I thought so too.
It's Commissioner Skidmore, it's not made out of real money, right? You're not advocating taking real money and making masks, are you? I'm just
No, ma'am.
saying. Okay, just making sure. I don't think you're supposed to do that, but you know, I bet somebody actually will do it. I'm guessing.
Give it a try.
Yes, it's made out of linen though, right? Money is made out of linen.
Mhm.
So it's not a cotton fiber. I'm not sure. Bankers should know this stuff. Anyway, no, in all seriousness, and I tried to make this my background, and I'm not technologically advanced and I can't figure it out, but I do want to share this picture of, this is, I don't know if you can get it real well, but there, it's kind of good. Okay, so this was my niece's daughter and I at Disney World last year in October. And it was the woman for Votes for Women person that stands at the beginning of Main Street. And we had a long conversation. Probably not everybody stops to visit with the person who's excited about Votes for Women, but I was. I have sent that out time and time again. And what a important thing to celebrate that women had the right to vote. 100 years today, they woke up with the right to vote, which was great. And that should tell every single woman how important it is not to take for granted that right to vote. So please get out and vote in November. I think that brings us to the end of the agenda. And I'm going to read the quick announcements. We have study session on the 24th and 31st of October at 4 o'clock via Zoom. And we have our regular city commission meeting on the 2nd of October. Can you believe it's almost September? Can you believe it's almost September? Via Zoom at 7 p.m. The City Hall and city offices will be closed on Labor Day on September 7th. And I believe that leaves us to the end of the agenda. Is there anything else that needs to be brought forth to the commission today? If not, we will adjourn today's meeting. Thank you.